What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video here on Touchline Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I put out every single week. Emma Hayes officially announced as the new U.S. Women's National Team manager after she finishes the season with Chelsea. Of course, this is a no-brainer. From a logic standpoint, this checks every single box. Emma Hayes' resume is as impressive as anybody in the women's game. This is the highest profile job in the women's game. Everything makes sense here, just on a very basic level. But there is another level on which this makes a lot of sense. That is where I want to dive in. Emma Hayes has found a way, if you read what her Chelsea players have said about her, to simultaneously hold them accountable and be very, very hard on them, while also getting them to be completely bought into what she is doing, to make them feel like they are incredibly valued, to do all of the people skill stuff. That combination is what this job is all about. Because you've got a bunch of stars who need to be challenged on the field. And Emma Hayes has been able to do that with her Chelsea teams. But you also have to handle the personalities. And that is what Emma Hayes has done such a good job of. I kept reading player after player saying, yeah, she really, really challenged me. It wasn't always the most enjoyable, but it was what I needed to hear. And I absolutely loved playing for her because I knew that she was working for my best interest. Getting that combination where you can really hold players accountable, but not have them sort of switch off or tune you out is very, very difficult. And that speaks to Emma Hayes' abilities as a leader. That is the kind of thing this team needs. On top of that, I talked about this on a couple occasions, and I want to bring it back up here now that there is officially a manager in charge, at least after after the season ends. This hire is easily the most important the U.S. Women's National Team has ever made, because this team no longer walks out onto the field with this inherent talent advantage where it almost doesn't feel like coaching matters because they're just that much better than most of the teams that they play. That is not the world we're living in anymore. They might still be the best team in the world. You can have that argument, have that conversation heading into the Olympics next summer. But there are 5 or so teams right there on their level that also have that case. Be it England, be it Spain, be it Germany, you can go down the list. You don't have the same margin for error anymore. This team needs a coach that is actually capable of getting the most out of these players and that is going to provide a real advantage from the sidelines in preparation and actually make a difference. You cannot just skate by on talent anymore and have 1 or 2 games you need to get past. That last World Cup laid this out very, very clearly. The group stage was a challenge, and it shouldn't have been. And then you get to I didn't mention Sweden is one of those teams on that level, but they absolutely are. Then you had to play Sweden in the round of 16 because you didn't do your job in the group stage. You cannot just throw somebody into this position and expect it to work anymore. And so, if there was ever a time for the for U.S. soccer to spend the money to get a world-class coach in, it is right now, to make sure that what happened at the World Cup doesn't happen again at the Olympics and doesn't happen again at the next World Cup. To get somebody who is going to grow with all of these really young, exciting players that are forming the core of this team. I talked about this after the World Cup too. Your best players on this team, most of them are in their early to mid-20s. So all of this checks out. You have a coach who is not going to let these players settle. There is going to be no level of comfort. Go watch some of the videos that have been released about that you can see of kind of the way Emma Hayes handles her teams. Go read what her former players are saying and current players at Chelsea. All of it screams to me exactly what this team needs. You have somebody who you have to respect because of her resume, because of her pedigree, and who also has found a way to develop those really, really deep relationships with players, who understands the human side of all of this, and is beloved by her players despite the way that she really pushes them and doesn't settle for anything less than excellence. That is what this is about. And that is why I love this hire so much. Yes, it just makes sense from an optics and a logic standpoint. She was probably the best manager available. She might be the best manager in the world. There's a reason there was talk about her potentially taking over a Premier League team. She knows what she's doing. But the timing and the way that she has built her reputation and gotten to a point where she is a no-brainer, everybody seems to be on board with this hire for the highest profile job in women's soccer, is the exact kind of things that need to translate to this team right now, which is why I'm such a big fan of this. And it is absolutely worth waiting and taking the risk in terms of the Olympics to make this happen. Because you've got much bigger problems than not being quite as prepared as you would like for the Olympics, because I believe it's 4 games she gets. I think it's 2 international. It might even just be 1 window that she's going to come over after the Chelsea season ends. A little bit of time to work with this team, and then you're going to the Olympics. That is worth doing what it takes to get Emma Hayes into this team. I firmly, firmly believe that. Because she knows how to, she's been working with Sam Kerr, arguably the best striker in the world. She knows how to work with stars, how to build those relationships, and she knows how to continually improve them and not let them settle for where they're at. And if there's any level of complacency, she just doesn't do that. And for a team that has had so much success, that's incredibly important to have a fresh voice in there with this kind of gravitas that probably women's national team manager for the U.S. has ever had before. She is on a whole nother level in terms of what she has done in her career. And bringing in somebody who can actually be a difference maker from the sideline is more important now than ever, because everybody, say it all the time, but everybody is catching up. If this team is going to continue to be the best in the world, part of that is finding advantages in coaching. That did not happen at the World Cup. I laid out some of my disagreements with what Vlatko Andonovski did. Emma Hayes is just on another level. So, wanted to wait until the U.S. has officially announced this. That has happened. Interim head coach Twyla Kilgore is going to continue to lead the team and kind of help with this transition as Emma Hayes finishes out the season at Chelsea. Then it's going to be a quick turnaround to the Olympics. But this is absolutely the right decision. I will continue to believe it is the right decision unless something extraordinary comes out, regardless of how this actually goes. This was the time to spend the money, to go get the big name, to flex your muscle if you are at U.S. Soccer. That is exactly what they did. I'll just end by saying this. If I could build a coach and a personality to take over this team at this moment, it would be something that looks an awful lot like what Emma Hayes has done in her career and who Emma Hayes is. She is exactly what this team needs right now. And there's absolutely no reason to doubt her ability to get success, to have success with this team. The sky is not falling. Everybody else is just catching up, which means you don't win all the time. And sometimes it doesn't go particularly well. So people need to change their expectations. But one bad World Cup does not mean this team has fallen off the map, that this team can no longer compete at the highest level, that this team can't be the best team in the world. All of those things are still possible. There's no reason to overreact. We just have a tendency to do it because something horrible happened when this team didn't win. That's not the world we live in anymore. But you do need somebody who's going to give you a bigger margin of error as a result, and Emma Hayes is exactly that person. That is all I have on that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.